Hello friends. Today we're going to talk about timelines. From the start of opening a company to getting the final result. Yes, I know I've already made several similar videos. In some ways, I'm repeating myself. First of all, the situation changes from time to time depending on how busy the officials are and on other circumstances. For example, not long ago we had a change of Minister of Education, and everyone who wants to emigrate to Montenegro has to go through the Ministry of Education. With the change in leadership, the ministry has started to operate a bit differently. And there are a lot of such factors. Besides all that, not everyone understands what kind of time investment is involved, even though I talk about this a lot still. Not everyone understands what kind of timelines they can actually expect. And for many people, this is a very important issue. For example, you might have a pregnant wife and you need to plan for childbirth. Will she be able to give birth for free after receiving her residence permit, or will she have to pay for it? Or maybe you're planning for your company to actually operate and you need to receive payments from clients. How soon will you be able to do that? There are a lot of such questions. For one reason or another, this is probably important for everyone. This is probably one of the key questions. That's why I want to talk about it once again. So let's break it down step by step and in detail. First, timelines for opening a company. Opening a company is usually done quite quickly. As a rule, it takes about 2 weeks, give or take, plus the time needed to translate the power of attorney. A translation is required if the power of attorney is notarized outside of Montenegro. There are two options for opening a company. The first, which I recommend, is to do all of this in advance, before coming to Montenegro. The second is to start the process once you're already here. If you open it in advance, you send the power of attorney in a foreign language, which in order to be used in Montenegro must first be translated. This also requires a certain amount of time. As a rule, I receive translations within 7 to 10 days, plus a couple of weeks for opening the company. But opening the company by itself, in principle, doesn't really give you anything. There are also other documents. Some of them are processed fairly quickly, while others take longer. In particular, the confirmation from the Ministry of Education is not processed very quickly. As I mentioned earlier today, everyone who wants to emigrate has to go through the Ministry of Education. At the same time, as we open the company, we submit a package of documents to the ministry for the nostrification of educational documents. That is, for the recognition of a foreign educational certificate, which is required so that later the director can apply for a residence permit. I won't discuss right now why this is necessary. To be honest, you really could debate whether it's needed or not. But these are the rules we have in Montenegro. If you want to obtain a residence permit on the basis of employment in this case, by opening your own company and working in it as a director, you need to submit documents for nostrification. The processing times vary, and it can be relatively quick or not quick at all. To put it briefly, in most cases, getting confirmation from the ministry takes longer than opening the company. Let's say the average processing time is about a month after submission. At the same time, you also need to keep in mind that the documents have to be prepared, which means they also need to be translated. At a minimum, you need to translate your educational certificate. And if all of this was sent from another country, for example, there's a power of attorney in a foreign language, you'll also need to translate the power of attorney. I've already mentioned the time frames. Currently, translators aren't that busy, so we're getting translations done within 7 to 10 days. Compared to the recent past when there was a large influx of people due to events in Ukraine, this is already quite fast, but still. So, document preparation takes 7 to 10 days plus a month for review at the ministry. But their timeline isn't set in stone. Things happen from time to time. Someone goes on vacation or there are other issues. In short, there's a certain list of issues, and of course I know what usually causes delays. I won't burden you with the details right now, but the point is that a month is, let's say, the time frame in which most people will get their documents. But at the same time, this period can actually be shorter, or it can be much longer. Sometimes documents sit there for 2 months or even longer. So in short, document preparation plus 2 months, and sometimes even more. So why am I telling you all this? I recommend sending your documents in advance so you're not stuck here waiting and wondering when the ministry will finally process them. How far in advance should you send them? In most cases, the company plus the ministry take about a month and a half, but not always. There can be delays. So basically, if you send them not a month and a half in advance, but say 2 or even 3 months ahead, that's not a mistake, it's perfectly normal. Next, when these documents are ready, by that time you are either already in Montenegro or will be arriving soon. You'll receive a notification from me via WhatsApp or another messenger that the documents are ready and you can come to Montenegro. You arrive and find a long-term rental agreement. Additionally, a few more documents are prepared, which are done fairly quickly, and then you can apply for a residence permit. The processing time for a residence permit for the company director is about 1.5 months on the coast, or twice as fast in Podgorica. I don't know why, but in Podgorica it's twice as fast. First, the director applies, then the family members apply. After the director's residence permit is issued, you can do two things at the same time. The first is to submit documents for the family member's residence permits if you have a family. The processing times are the same as for the director. Again, it's 1.5 months on the coast and twice as fast in Podgorica. And at the same time, a document package is prepared and submitted for opening a bank account, registering with the tax office, with the labor inspection, for issuing a work record book, and for obtaining health insurance cards, which entitle you to free medical care. And this is done for everyone. And only for operating companies is it also necessary to complete what's called fiscalization, which grants the right to issue invoices for non-cash payments or to accept cash payments. This last point, that is opening an account, registering with the tax office, the work record book, health insurance cards, and fiscalization. In principle, there are no exact deadlines for how long this process can take. Again, for example, a lot depends on the season. During vacation season, many employees at the tax office are on leave. Accordingly, they work much more slowly than outside of vacation season. But if we talk about average time frames, then it takes about 1 to 2 months for this entire set of documents to be processed. So what do we end up with? If you only need a residence permit, if you have the director and you don't have any family members, then usually you receive the residence permit in about 3 months from the moment you begin processing the documents to open the company. If you have a family, then it takes about 4 to 5 months. If you need to conduct business activity, that is, your company is not just a shell, but you actually plan to start some kind of real operations through it, then setting up the company, obtaining a residence permit, plus opening a bank account, plus fiscalization and other procedures, well, this will take at least 4 months if you're lucky. Most likely it will be 5. So that's basically how things stand. Thank you all for your attention. Goodbye, everyone.